Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Culture Feeds. I'm your host, Yaparoni. Thanks so much for joining me today. And how are you guys? It's been a little bit. I have to say that recording my Justin Bieber episode a little late kind of threw my schedule in for a loop. And just some general life updates. I actually got a job recently. So I've just been kind of catching up on that. Had a lot on my plate. So I just said, you know what, I'm going to delay 1 week, just give myself a little bit of time. And actually, last week, after I recorded the Justin Bieber episode, I was trying to record an episode that I'm going to release next week. But I'm going to be honest, like, I just didn't prepare enough for that episode. So, like, halfway through, I was just like, what am I even talking about? Like, I'm just blabbing at this point and I don't even know what I'm saying. So I was just like, okay, let me just give myself some more time to like research this a little bit more and like not try and rush it because with the Justin Bieber episode coming out a little bit later than scheduled, I just had less time to prepare. So I was just like, you know what? Let's just reschedule this whole thing. And before we get into this episode, which you probably already know what it's about, I thought it would be fitting because I recorded the Justin Bieber episode after the weekend one Coachella performance, but we didn't talk about weekend two, and there's so much more that happened. So I would love to talk about it. And this man is very much in relations, in entanglements with a lot of people in this family. So I thought, let's just do a little Bieber catch up before we get into the meat of this episode. So Justin Bieber. So first, we obviously have to talk about the guest appearances because I feel like the amount of guests that came up in weekend two, everyone was like, oh my god, like this doesn't even compare to weekend one. There were substantially more guest appearances for his Coachella set on weekend two compared to weekend one. But honestly, I feel like both of them were really great. But obviously, like weekend two was just like more for the fans. He seemed so much more confident and comfortable. He like went into the barricade to like interact with the fans and like be around them, and it was so cool. I loved seeing him do that because after weekend one I really didn't like imagine him doing that. So let's talk about some of the guest appearances. He brought out Sexy Red for Sweet Spot. I'm not gonna lie, I love Sexy Red. I fuck with Sexy Red, but I just hate her on this song. I hate her on Sweet Spot. I love this song and I would just love it 10,000 times more if she was just not on this fucking song. So literally when he started playing Sweet Spot, because he didn't play this in the set last week, I was just like, please just don't bring out Sexy Red. Like, please just do like a shortened version. And then she obviously came out, which was fun, but I just hate her on this fucking song. Like, I'm sorry. And then obviously Justin brought out SZA for Snooze, and I love that. And that was personally emotional for me because I actually went to the show where Justin Bieber showed up for SZA's concert on tour in LA when she was touring GNX with Kendrick Lamar. I was at that show and Justin Bieber popped out and I was like, oh my god. But I remember so many people talking about it, being like, oh my god, is Justin Bieber okay? Like, he looks fucked up on stage. And just like seeing them reunite on stage at Coachella, where he just seems so much healthier and he just seems like so much more confident. The vocals were vocaling. Like, oh, I loved it. See, like, there was just like such a big difference between like this show. To see him reclaim the live performance of it all was so heartwarming. I loved it. And I just love this fucking song. I love that Justin Bieber did a remix on it because it's just such a good song. Like, Justin Bieber is genuinely like the best vocalist of our generation. Like, I'll say it. Genuinely, he is the one male vocalist where I'm like, I rather like his live performances than like his actual music. I think he does better singing live than in the studio. And then he brought out Dijon again for Devotion. Love Dijon and also love that song. And then he also brought out Big Sean. Oh, you guys. This brought something out in me because I didn't know that I knew Big Sean's verse for As Long As You Love Me word for word. Like, I had no idea, but the way I started spitting bar for bar with Big Sean when he came out, like, it was crazy. Because I was not a believer during this era. Like, I obviously knew Justin Bieber. I also obviously knew As Long As You Love Me, but like, I did not know I knew this song bar for bar. So that hit something in me. And I also love No Pressure. That's one of my favorite songs on purpose. And I'm so happy that they did that. I was thinking, are they gonna do Memphis from Journals? But like not a lot of people know that song, but I fucking love that song. I was scared because me selfishly, I didn't want him to perform any more songs on Journals, which he didn't. He knew. And then he freaking brings out Billie Eilish for One Less Lonely Girl. I'm not going in order, by the way, clearly. But this was so, oh, this was like such a moment where like, but then I was like, who the fuck is that? And then everyone like was like, oh my god, it's Billie Eilish. Literally the week, the days following the Weekend One performance, I was literally like watching videos of Billie like meeting Justin Bieber for the first time and them interacting, and they have like all these different moments. There's so much lore because Billie is like a dedicated believer, and just like I watched the clip of her meeting Justin for the first time at Coachella several years ago, and like I started bawling. Like I don't know why, but like being someone that is a chronically online fangirl and like knows exact like Billie's my age, and just like seeing her like experience like peak fangirl moment, like it was just so emotional for me for some reason. And just like the way he's so like protective over her, given that she also like came into this industry so young, like I thought that was so beautiful. The fact that she got to live out her dream as One Less Lonely Girl, like yes, I just love it for her, and I feel like everyone felt that way. Just like collectively we were like, if anyone was gonna be on there, if it wasn't gonna be Haley, like it had to be Billie Eilish, and I love that moment. And I gotta say, this entire moment, it completely changed the narrative, the public narrative about Hailey Bieber, which I find so interesting. And I've talked about this on TikTok a little bit. I've been doing some digging about like different lore with Justin Bieber and Hailey Bieber, Selena Gomez, all that. And I know a lot of it because I was just there for all of it, and I'm always tuned into drama, but like I was revisiting a lot of the old stuff, and it is kind of crazy how specifically Haley's hate train and like smear campaign kind of happened. Like it was like 5 years after she got married to Justin Bieber. Like it was like a gradual thing. Like I'm sure she got hate like throughout the marriage from the beginning because everyone was like, what the fuck? Like, who is this girl? Like, married Justin Bieber. It like really boiled over. And then, like, over the past 3 years, I would say, like, people started being more like, wait, she's kind of like a clean girl. Like, I love that, like, clean girl vibes. And then her brand Rhode became like a huge thing. And everyone was like, oh my god, like, I love Hailey Bieber again. Like she's such a clean girl. She's like the it girl, whatever. And now everyone with this whole Billie moment and like obviously Justin Bieber having a phenomenal Coachella performance, everyone is like, "I'm sorry, Hailey Bieber." Like, and it's just so interesting how people switch up like that. Honestly, like when it comes to hate trains and cancel culture, it genuinely doesn't fucking matter. Like it's literally just a matter of time where people will immediately switch up on you. Like it doesn't like it genuinely you just got to give it time cuz eventually people are going to switch up and be like, "I loved you. Like I never understood why people hated you." Like all this other stuff. Overall, my thoughts, I think Justin did amazing for Coachella. Like I said, I predicted there's no tour announcement. I've always said that I don't think he's going to go on tour. But if he does, I will most definitely be getting tickets somehow. But as of right now, there's no news of that. So I'm fully like in my Bieber fever era right now. But this week's episode, we are going to be talking about the state of the Kardashian Jenner empire. Now, if you have been following me through TikTok, most of you, I would assume, found me through my Kardashian deep dive series. So if you aren't familiar, if you want to go to my TikTok and watch it, I would encourage you to do so. I have a playlist on my profile. That was literally like the very first viral video I ever had on my entire TikTok page. I think it's still my second most viewed. And it was a video where I was talking about a specific clip of the Kardashians, and I was analyzing Kourtney Kardashian's mommy issues with Kris Jenner. And then that just led me to do a whole entire deep dive. I did Kendall, Kylie, I did all of them, but I did all the kids. Oh, I also didn't do Kris, honest. I was supposed to do Kris, And then I just ended up not doing it. Maybe I will someday. Maybe we'll do an episode here. But that specific series, like, I genuinely reached a flow state. Like, I think there's something about like doing anthropological analysis on like reality television or like documentaries or just analyzing people's careers and stuff like that. Like, I love doing that. I love providing my own perspective on that. I love adding like a little bit of psychological analysis because a lot of things just all like trace back to that. The Kardashians are a family that I know very well. I think I've lived half my life following them at this point. Just any type of new news that comes out about them, it's I have something to say. I have thoughts about it. And I would honestly say we are in the era, I would say over the past like 2 to 3 years, we are finally in the era where the Kardashians don't feel like they're ruling over Hollywood. I don't think they've necessarily taken a step back intentionally. I feel like people just stopped kind of caring about them as much, and it's very, very clear. And I honestly do think Kanye West has a lot to do with that. I would love to do an episode on Kanye's impact on the Kardashian empire because that in and of itself is so, so interesting. But I do think Kanye no longer being connected to the Kardashian family does have a correlation to their cultural impact in celebrity culture right now. I feel like they haven't been able to find a solid way to pivot, and they're trying to right now. The Kardashian method was always just to throw shit at the wall, and they still kind of do that. We'll talk about it, but I feel like they have to be a bit more intentional at this point because their status was elevated once Kanye got into the picture and once they became like Hollywood elite status rather than like reality star status. But I feel like over the past 3 years, they're still trying to figure this shit out. Like, to me, it feels like they still don't really know what to do without Kanye. But I also recognize that it's not just Kanye that like controlled this entire thing. I'm not saying that he's like the mastermind of all this, but we have to admit, like, Kanye West being married to Kim, that elevated the entire status of the family. Like, they were always like reality tier stars, but then Kanye elevated them to another level that they couldn't get to without him. Like, we can all agree on that, right? I feel like that's not a hot take. But after he's no longer really associated with them, they're still up here because they've gotten there to that point anyway. But we're at a point where we're like, but why though? Like, we're kind of just like what are y'all trying to do? And I think there's a lot of different things in the works. I think it's different because a lot of them are having their own families now. They've obviously gotten older. North and like the children growing up is also like in a developmental stage. I think I'm just rambling at this point, but they're in like a rebuilding stage. I think that's the word I want. They're in a rebuild right now, but I feel like they don't really know. I think I'm kind of at a point where like, is your rebuilding stage still just throwing things at the wall and seeing if it'll stick? Like, they're rebuilding, but I don't think they know what they're trying to do still. So now we're just going to look at each girl and see what they're up to these days, and I'm going to give my thoughts on it, okay? Just general updates of all the women in the family and just kind of talk about like what's been going on with them. So first, I think we should start with the matriarch, obviously, Miss Kris Jenner. I wanted to see if there were any updates with her. And most of it is really about her facelift. Why Chinese internet users are switching their profiles to Kris Jenner. They're praying to Jenner to manifest riches, job offers, and 9-figure fortunes. Wait, that's actually so funny. On Red Note, why are the Chinese obsessed with Kris Jenner all of a sudden? Okay, interesting. Inside Kris Jenner's facelift gate, I feel like the main thing about Kris Jenner lately is that she got an amazing facelift, which I will say is interesting if you look at the commentary of how like people talk about Kris Jenner's facelift compared to like people who get like botched work compared to like Jim Carrey, for example. Like they don't think Kris Jenner got cloned because her facelift is actually good. I just thought that was interesting. I don't want to read this article about Kris Jenner's facelift if I'm being honest, but I guess there's like not really much to update here. Okay, there are some tabloids here. Kris Jenner reportedly unhappy with facelift results. Kris Jenner is furious that her $300,000 facelift faded, and I can relate. Okay. Oh wow, there's like a lot of articles about how she is not happy with her facelift. But I've heard that facelifts only aren't supposed to last very long. Like they only last like maximum like 6 months or so. Wow, it really is just like Kris Jenner going viral on Chinese social media and the facelift. Oh, let's actually talk about this $7 demand to Ray J over sex tape deal. This is page 6. I know it's not super reliable, but I do have to say the fact that they are trying to fight Ray J still to this day about this goddamn sex tape. Everything from here on out is alleged. I'm reading tabloids here, so it's like nothing is super confirmed, okay? There allegedly are a lot of documents surfacing and like Ray J talking about like how the entire sex tape was set up and planned by Kim and Kris Jenner. They have such a dirty paper trail, and it's crazy that like no one really talks about it. Obviously, we know that they have very much connections to like TMZ and a lot of press outlets. They are like this with TMZ and people. The Kardashians, people, TMZ, they're all like this, allegedly. It's just so crazy because obviously they have such crazy connections to press outlets that so many crazy things about them don't actually like make news anymore. Like they have everything so contained and controlled now. It's so crazy. According to documents obtained by Page Six, Jenner and Kardashian blasted Ray J in a May 2025 legal letter accusing him of violating the NDA and demanding that he return the $5 million they paid him thus far and pay them an additional $1 million each. Okay, this has been happening since last year. Why did this become a whole thing now? Kardashian and Jenner lost a legal bid to keep parts of the 2023 settlement with Ray J private. The duo had argued that releasing details of the settlement would cause substantial harm to their privacy. However, judge ruled that they presented no admissible evidence that the details becoming public would be harmful to them. Yeah, I feel like this wasn't really big news. I saw some tweets about it like a couple weeks ago, I guess, but I feel like Kris just works behind the scenes now, obviously. I feel like she's not making too much of like she doesn't make herself too much of a character anymore. She keeps everything under wraps now because I feel like she has a lot to hide. The family has a lot to hide, so she just keeps it down low. Let's just talk about Kim and Lewis Hamilton at this point. We can't avoid it, so so Kim Kardashian was also at Coachella the other week, and she posted one of this in her Instagram dump for Coachella. And who do you think that is? Who do you think that is? That is none other than Mr. Lewis Hamilton. Honestly, there is not a single couple that I couldn't care less about than Kim and Lewis Hamilton. This is so obviously PR to me. It's just so like contrived. It's just so like they have tried to make Lewis Hamilton a thing with Kim throughout the years and it never stuck. It just never stuck. People like did not care. But like there was some discourse online about like why would like Lewis Hamilton like associate himself with the Kardashians or whatever. But it's like why would he not? Like also, okay, so the blind items allege that Lewis Hamilton is very closeted and he has always been in like these lavender relationships essentially. They're not super like out there. They're not really like Pete and Kim, I would say. I just feel like this doesn't stick to me. Like this isn't like nothing about their relationship says anything of substance to me. I'm curious to know what like generally people think about this relationship. Like people who aren't into blind items, people who just like see the general news cycle and they're like, Kim Kardashian and Lewis Hamilton are dating. Like, what do you guys think? And I feel like what's so interesting about Kim is like I feel like if she had it her way, I feel like if Kim truly had it her way, this is just my opinion, she would have been dating like a fellow billionaire. like some really obscure guy that like if she could date like a rando guy that's just like hella fucking rich, like we would have to look up who he is and we're like, oh shit, like he's like a really important guy. She would have done that. But I feel like people like that, like people like the nameless elites, they don't want to play Kim's game. Like Kim's game is still always about like fame, status, wealth. But when it comes to the nameless elites, they don't want fame usually. They kind of like to keep it low key. But that's not Kim's game. Like they're not willing to play Kim's game. If she had it her way, she would probably date someone like, I feel like she would have gone the route that Katy Perry went, where she's like dating a politician. Like, we know that Kim wants to get into politics or like tech, finance stuff. Like, she wants to go into that route with law. Lewis Hamilton was the one guy that was still like, all right, I'm down. Like, I'm down to like set this up. That's just my opinion. That's just the vibe that I get from their relationship. If Kim really had it her way, I feel like she would be dating a bit more up, you know? I feel okay, going from Kanye to Pete was fucking crazy, but that's also like so newsworthy, right? Like that was like a big deal that Kim Kardashian was dating Pete. So that kind of filled like the fame, like talk of the town type of thing that Kim loves to play. But like Lewis Hamilton, it's kind of giving not it's just like not giving anything to me. Something about Kim and Lewis like truly brings something out in me because I'm not getting what I want from it. Wait, not this one. There was something about them going on a drive or something. Arizona. Okay. Lovebirds share new photos of romantic getaway, right? Okay, wait. They're like they're like in Lake Powell, I guess. But like, who the fuck? Why would paparazzi be there? Like, this is so obviously staged. Like, why would paparazzi be following them to the mountains like this? Like, it's just so obvious. And like the little like the soft launch stories, it's so heavy handed. I'm over it. I don't know. Like, this is just not giving what it's supposed to give. Like, the is he even hugging her back? He looks so stiff. Guys, am I just a hater? They just don't give any type of chemistry to me. And it's so heavy-handed, like they really want to convince us, but I'm just not convinced. I just have to move on. that's that's all I think about. That's kind of all my thoughts on Kim and Lewis Hamilton. And I also want to talk about Northwest a little bit. Oh my god, I actually have a little bit more to talk about Kim. Before we get into Northwest, actually, I want to talk about this drink, this energy drink that Kim Kardashian has been promoting. I don't know why she's doing this. I'm really, really confused, honestly. Okay, I feel like at this point, when it comes to wealth, Kim is trying to build like a she wants herself to be like a conglomerate, and I guess like athleisure shapewear with Skims also like could work with an energy drink, I guess. But I don't know, this also feels like extremely Silicon Valley, like, but it's also like being sold at Walmart. I guess they have a partnership with Walmart. But like, I don't know, like this whole vibe, I don't know, I feel like I want to like this because she's also done a partnership with Alani in the past, but that also was like came and went. This I don't know. I can't see this being like successful. I don't see it. I guess because like Kendall got into like the alcohol industry, and like food and beverage is obviously very, very profitable, but it's also really hard to pull off. And there's like nothing that makes me want to drink like a Kim Kardashian energy drink. Like, this honestly looks like AI generated, and I wouldn't be surprised if it is. It's not even caffeinated, apparently. I don't know. Okay, enough with that. And then the last thing I want to update about Kim is regarding North. So honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I think North is really cool. I feel like it's really cool that she gets to like express herself and do all this stuff. And I feel like a lot of people say that it's like not age appropriate for her to be dressing like the way she does. But honestly, I don't really see her in like super inappropriate outfits. I mean, there was that one time that she wore like a corset or something. But like other than that she wears like really like street style baggy type of outfits, and I feel like she looks cool. She has like crazy fake piercings and like long extensions, lash extensions and all that. But also it's like she's rich, like she can afford to do that. But also she is still like really young. I think she's like 13 or she's turning 13 this year. But what I find really odd, I don't really want to talk about this too much because I just feel uncomfortable because they're minors. But there's like this whole thing about her friend group that's going on, and like people are like really invested in like talking about like her friend group drama, and I just find that really fucking weird because like these girls are literally like 11 to 14, I'm assuming. Like they like why are I'm assuming that the people who actually talk about this are their age because I'm seeing it a lot on TikTok. I just hope that the people who are like reporting on this type of news are at least like, what are you doing as a grown ass like woman or man reporting on like friend group drama that's happening with Northwest? Like I just feel like that's really fucking weird. I feel if you are of their age and like talking about it and speculating about it, I don't care. That's all that. But like grown ass people talking about like the friendship dynamics of Northwest's friend group, you're fucking weird. I'm sorry. That's all I have to say about that. Let's just do Kourtney real quick. There's not really much to update about Kourtney, honestly, other than it was her birthday recently and Travis was sucking on her toes. Like, this is what I'm saying. Okay, I'm personally of the belief because I've made multiple videos about Kourtney Kardashian on TikTok because I do think she's like a really important aspect of this family in terms of like her impact on the empire. But I feel like she keeps it so low key at this point. It does affect like the family's like relevance because she's not like parading her relationship or like having toxic crazy stories about her relationship like out in the press too. And I feel like that has a really big impact on it because like Kourtney, I would say Kourtney and Travis are like pretty low key now, and they're just like not, they're just like minding their own business. They're sucking on each other's toes, but like they do that in the comfort of their own home, you know? Like they don't really do it on the show anymore. Like they like that's not really a big deal that's going on in like the show storylines. It's just like a quick Instagram post, you know? And I like that for her. And I think that's exactly what Kourtney wants. I think she wants to upkeep a certain lifestyle, and the show helps her do that, and that's the only reason why she's on it. But I will say I do want to do an episode on them as a couple because I do think it's interesting. I think there's a lot of things that people speculate about their relationship given their history, given their relationship dynamics. So I will save that for another episode. But honestly, in terms of news, there's not really much going on with Kourtney these days other than Travis sucking on her toes, and it's not really news at this point. I actually want to talk about Khloe though, because recently there was a new documentary that came out about Lamar Odom and how he had an overdose and he basically had like 6 heart attacks and 12 strokes or something insane like that. He basically escaped death and his trials and tribulations with addiction. And Khloe essentially became the star of that documentary because a lot of her experience is a big part of the entire story because a lot of the time period where he was rehabilitating himself physically, he was not conscious of, like, he doesn't remember a lot of it because he was just unable to talk or walk or basically function as a human being, and Khloe was his caretaker at the time. My personal take on this documentary, I found it really interesting. I would recommend you watch it. I do think it's interesting. I think there's still some things and aspects to Lamar's life that he doesn't want to be public, which is totally fine. But I feel like it made the documentary feel a little bit. It still didn't feel like a fully honest documentary, and I do think it's probably because Lamar possibly had control over like what could be taken out or put in. I definitely don't think this documentary was something that put Lamar in a good light. It I came out of the documentary kind of being like, okay, so all of this happened to you and now what? Like there was like absolutely no discussion regarding like his sobriety journey, what he's been doing since he recovered. Like there was no new information in terms of like what he's been doing in his life now. He's talking about wanting to go back to school, possibly coach basketball, but it's also like it's almost been 10 years since you've been able to recover, and there's not really much to show for it. When you get the perspective of what his family had to go through, like his children, his baby mother, like to me, he seems like someone who's gone through so much trauma, and clearly given his background, like he's gone through a lot of shit, like lots of hardship, but he suppresses that so much where he like doesn't even have the emotional capacity to like be considerate of other people. He just genuinely seems like someone who does everything for their own instant gratification type of vibe. Like that's the vibe that I get from Lamar. Then afterwards, I guess Lamar started talking and doing press and stuff about this documentary and saying some negative things about Khloe. I personally did not see any of those clips, but I just wanted to talk about a bit more of Khloe's perspective after the documentary came out and what she thought about Lamar and the things that he's been saying. So let's take a look.
Done. I'm good. He's good. We're good. To do this, though, what turned me was Netflix reaching out again, saying like they can't finish it without me. And I didn't want to do that to Lamar. So I was like, okay, he deserves this.
You did him a really big favor because you actually can't tell the story of that chapter of his life without you. As a matter of fact, he doesn't know.
What?
He doesn't really know what happened. You do.
Either way, I remember I was like, I really want to make sure, like, let's get on the same page with what he wants me to say. You reached.
See, like already, even just the way that she still talks about him, it's still giving like, I want to protect him. Like, I want to make sure that this is in the best light. It's always prioritizing him rather than her telling her most authentic story. And I think that's something that hurts Khloe's public perception at times. Well, I will say she did get like a really good image in this documentary. Like a lot of people didn't realize like how much she had helped Lamar and supported Lamar throughout this time. Everything that she said was great, but I feel like she's still like her main priority is still this man that like does not give a fuck about her. Like that's what makes me so sad about Khloe, because like she always prioritizes these men that do not care about her. She didn't have to fucking reach out to Lamar and make sure like whatever he doesn't want to be in the documentary, like you can take out whatever. Like she honestly doesn't have to do that. She really could have just been like, this is what the fuck happened. And she says in this podcast, she says like, I didn't even tell like 90% of it. Like there's still so much that the people don't know. And it's like, we want to know that though. Like I'm sure in that 90%, there are so many things that like make her perspective so much clearer to people. Like there are so many things that she could say to show her most authentic perspective, but she doesn't. And a lot of people in this family do this too, where they will hide certain things to protect the men in their lives, but the men that they protect don't give a shit about them. And it's just like it's so frustrating to watch because there's already such like a misogynistic like sentiment when it comes to the Kardashians, and we'll get to that in a second when we get to Kendall and Kylie, but like they are always like the butt of the joke when it comes to talking about the men in their lives, but they still want to protect the men that don't give a shit about them. It's like it's like frustrating to watch, honestly. So let's continue.
I think that's another thing that people are kind of hung on, which is like, what were we supposed to get from this? That you weren't a good father, you weren't a good husband,
well, so that's
and
what
you were
I'm
a drug
confused
addict.
about. So if this is
they
your
don't know what to
documentary,
get.
but like your overdose was 11 years ago.
Yeah.
You're telling me that you have nothing to show for anything at the end of your documentary? You couldn't show after the last 11 years your sobriety journey?
And that has nothing to do with you.
Has nothing to do with me. If there was nothing positive to show at the end, that's on you. You are ending it as making a joke. Oh, let's go to Vegas. Let me go to Vegas. Come with me to Vegas and get married, or whatever he said.
I've seen a lot of TikToks and opinions. This is also just my opinion, that people believe that Lamar is most likely not sober. And I also have my suspicions on that too, because like truly he does not say anything about his sobriety journey in this entire documentary. Like I looked up like Lamar news and stuff, and he literally got a DUI this year. It's April of 2026. He like I don't know, obviously, but I do have my suspicions that he's not sober or clean because he doesn't talk about any of that in the documentary. Like, if he wants to show like a redemption story, I feel like that's such an important aspect of it, and he doesn't do any of that in the documentary, like she said. And anyway, let's continue.
You're sitting on camera saying you married me for fame. What?
Like, not weak. It's all the conversation is very weak.
But I saw some TikTok was like, wait, am I such a fool because I thought they really loved each other? Did it? And the person was like, did anyone else feel that way? And I was like,
No, I think that's what you say now
wait.
after your wife has left you and it's been a decade later.
Yeah,
and you kind of have mud on your face.
But he hasn't said that for years.
That was
he made
never the truth, KK.
What?
It was never true that he married. He's saying that now.
Yeah, but why is he saying it in his documentary?
He's saying it now because that's the only leg he has to stand on.
That's insane.
He can't get you back.
But you're asking
he just texts me.
Right, but you're
Tell
asking
KK we'll be family forever.
Right, but you're
so I don't
asking
understand
me
how that
to be
makes
in your
sense.
documentary. And behind the scenes, your friends, you guys are all saying how you were with me just for fame. That's like some like, I feel so dumb. I spent hours and time doing this documentary as a favor. I'm not paid one penny.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. This is my take. I don't think Lamar was lying. I think there probably was absolutely an aspect of the marriage where he wanted the attention that the Kardashians were able to give him. But I also think that that was a two-way street. Like, I also don't think Khloe would have married him if he was just some Joe Schmo instead of this all-star Lakers star. All-star Lakers star. What am I saying? Like, I don't think Khloe would have married him in 30 days if he wasn't a prominent athlete either. Like, he was on the most popular basketball team in the world, and you married him in 30 days. Like, I think for both of them it was like a real love, but let's not act like both of you just like truly got married out of pure love. Like, I don't find it surprising that Lamar wanted to get married for the attention and to live the fast life type of vibe. Like, I think Khloe's a bit in denial because it was something that was real for her. I think there's like true aspects to all of it. I do think Lamar is saying that in the documentary because he spites Khloe a little bit because like she's no longer there, like he's a bit bitter. But I also think there's probably some truth to that too. I have a lot of empathy for Khloe because I feel like she says it in this podcast too, like she has just terrible taste in men. Like, she just has the worst taste in men, and she constantly chooses these guys that treat her like absolute garbage. I just feel bad for her. I hope she actually writes a book one day where she tells like her most authentic truth. I think she would write such an amazing book. I think her healing journey is kind of like, instead of projecting all of those insecurities, she now like kind of protects herself and like keeps herself guarded. But like her feistiness and her personality, like the personality she had in her youth was such like a big appeal for the show, for the family dynamics, but that also led to her entire story and like her brand just being like she chooses these horrible men and she's deeply insecure, and that's like the whole thing. But I feel like there's so much more to Khloe. I think Khloe is so fun and like personable. We don't really see much of that anymore. I just can't believe how much shit she's gone through, period. I just think it's just insane the things that these men put her through. I want something more for I want more for Khloe. I do. I really, really do. I feel like she holds herself back a lot. I also think that's for her own peace as well. I don't know. Best of luck to Khloe. She I think she got a lot of people on her side after this documentary, as she should, because that woman has gone through some shit. Let's talk about Kendall Jenner. This will be kind of short because Kendall the thing that I find so interesting about Kendall is that she is so uninteresting. Like, it just, whatever she does, it's just so uninteresting, but she still gets herself in the public eye in ways where people don't, like, I feel like people don't have as much vitriol and hatred towards Kendall compared to the rest of the girls and like the rest of the women in the family because she's so like plain. And I've said this in my TikTok videos, but recently Kris Jenner, allegedly, is pushing out this idea that Jacob Elordi and Kendall Jenner are hanging out. And people, if you guys like follow up with blind items and the tabloids, people, the way people writes their articles is so interesting to me. It's so funny because like why is this even a headline that they're quietly hanging out? So yeah, Kendall Jenner and Jacob Elordi have quietly been spending time together amid growing romance rumors. So I feel like Kendall's relationships are really interesting. I've done a deep dive on TikTok. You should go watch it. But I just feel like maybe for with the exception of Devin Booker, none of them have ever made sense to me. Like none of them, all of them just seem so artificial, so Kris Jenner incorporated sponsored relationships. But I feel like Jacob Elordi and Kendall could really make sense. If you watched my paparazzi episode, I talked about how Jacob Elordi is like a fashion paparazzi boy, and I think that would work perfectly with Kendall. They're both tall as fuck. They're both beautiful. They're both like in the fashion world. I feel like it would totally make sense that they would become a couple. I feel like this is going to become a real thing. I think them two are going to become a real thing for a little bit. I think they're going to have I'm prepared for the pap walks. I can see it. Do I see them being together for a long time? No. Maybe for like a maybe for like 2 years or something. I can't see Kendall getting married, period. I feel like if she does get married, it's going to be like in her 40s or something. Like I feel like she's truly living, laughing, loving. I think she's going to be the true embodiment of like the cool aunt. I just can't see her getting I think she's just having the fucking time of her life. And I guess she's 30 now, right? Is that what it is? Or is she said when I was young I used to say that by 27 I'd love to have kids. Now I'm past that and I feel like I'm still so young. I'm enjoying my kidless freedom. Yeah, I can't see her having kids unless she's like way older. Maybe like late 30s. I feel like she's going to be like an older mom. Okay, so she's 30. Yeah, I feel like she's going to still be in her 30s living like she's in her 20s. And I kind of love that for her. I feel like it makes sense. I feel like that's what makes her interesting is the fact that she's not in these like crazy contrived relationships. She's not in these crazy PR spectacles all the time. And I feel like Jacob makes sense cuz Jacob is also not really in the headlines like that, like a Timothy Chalamet or like, you know. I feel like this makes sense to me. I'm interested. I'm more interested in this than Kim and Lewis Hamilton. That's what's crazy to me because Kendall is so fucking boring, but I am more invested in this than Kim and Lewis Hamilton. Like, I feel like this is much more interesting to me. I don't know why. Because I also I think Lewis Hamilton is really cool, but just something about him and Kim, there's like no chemistry there at all. I've never even seen these two actually together except for like one photo, but for some reason, this works for me. But like Lewis Hamilton and Kim, it's just not giving anything. But this, I see the potential in. I think there's potential here. There's like cultural moments to be had here. But with Kim and Lewis Hamilton, I feel like it's a bit too heavy-handed for me. And I don't know if that makes sense to a lot of people. Maybe it just makes sense to me. Okay, let's move on. Obviously last but certainly not least, Miss Kylie Jenner. Okay, so obviously her and Timmy have been doing their thing for a little while. They did these like matching little Insta posts of themselves at Goa, I think. And she was also on Kid Cudi's podcast, which I found really strange. I don't know why Kid Cudi has a podcast to begin with, if I'm being honest. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but I heard that it wasn't very good. So didn't really waste my time, honestly. But I just love whenever Kylie gets to do editorial shoots like this. Like, she is always serving when it comes to editorials. Like, I love it. And we're actually going to talk about this Vanity Fair shoot. Well, not this shoot, but we're going to be talking about the article that came with it. Oh, she looks so good. Like, honestly, just any editorial conceptual shoots like with Kylie, I'm obsessed with. And I saw, oh yeah, I didn't really talk about Lemmy with Kourtney, but Lemmy has apparently been doing really well. I feel like everyone is really like on board with the Lemmy brand these days. So she has this clothing line called Kai that I think she's rebranding because I was just looking at it. There's like no posts anymore. I swear there was though. Like, this is like old shit. But like no, like it has been making no noise. Like, the only time I see it is when people are being paid to promote it, or like she's reposting stuff about it. I just feel like with Kylie's brands, it's just like so clearly like she doesn't really do anything for them. Even Kylie Cosmetics now, like I don't know anything about this makeup line anymore. There's nothing that she's really doing new with the brand. I'm pretty sure she also had like this energy drink or something like that. It used to be like a seltzer or something, and then she rebranded it into an energy drink. The drink spritzer, K2O, I guess. It used to be a seltzer brand, but now they're turning into like a hydration electrolyte drink. I'm just really confused. Like, I think Kim and Kylie essentially do the same thing, where like whatever sticks works. And I think Kim did a really great job with Skims, but like with Kylie, I feel like she just doesn't care. I feel like Kim still like wants to be seen as like a really hard worker and like ultra capitalist. Like, that's always what Kim is trying to give. But with Kylie, it's just like so obvious she doesn't care. Like, it's so obvious like she just wants to look pretty. Like, I feel like that's all. Like, I really don't get much from Kylie these days. And I just feel like over the past few years she's just been giving nothing. Like, I don't understand it. Maybe this will be a good episode for the future, but like I want to fix Kylie Jenner's career. Like, I feel like there's so much potential here that she's not tapping into, and she's just throwing random shit at the wall that like clearly she doesn't care about. And allegedly she wants to go more into acting. She also was on Khloe's podcast saying like, "Oh, I would love to make more music and stuff," but like that's not what people are asking for, Kylie. Like, people don't want to hear you sing. People don't want to see you on screen. I'm sorry. Like, on the big screen at least. Like, she was in the moment with Charlie XCX and she said like, "I really like comedy. I think I'm good at it. Maybe next time I talk to you, I'll be the lead of an action movie." I feel like there's so much Kylie could be doing that would actually capture people, because she used to be like a character, but now she's just like so bland. She like kind of gives us nothing to work with, but like electrolytes and like this clothing line that is like not really, cuz let's be honest, it's not like Kylie's fashion or anything in the past couple years has been like anything extraordinary. Like, no one is like looking for her closet specifically. Like, yeah, she looks good in everything that she wears pretty much, but it's not like her fashion that makes her stand out? There's nothing that's really making her stand out, period. There's no like evolution going on, I feel like. I feel like her entire Instagram feed probably has looked the exact same in the past like 5 years. Dead ass, like actually like 5 years. Fixing Kylie Jenner, I do want to do something like that, because there's something about Kylie. I think with Kylie too, it's like she used to hit, but now she doesn't anymore, and I want to figure out why. So we'll definitely talk about that in the future. But I guess that's all I have for y'all today. I feel like the state of the Kardashians, as a fan and also an analyst, a Kardashian analyst, I think I'm a little bit frustrated because I think there's a lot of potential that could be tapped into and they're just not getting it. I think there's a lack of risk that's being taken, and I feel like risk is such a huge factor in the Kardashian cycle. Like there has to be some risk taking. But I feel like they're at a point where there's so much in the rebuilding stage where like anything they do it could be like make or break, and they're not willing to take any risks. And they're just throwing shit at the wall hoping something will stick. But when they're throwing things, they're throwing like foam balls. They're not throwing like an actual baseball that will like strike something. You know what I mean? But I also think something that has to do with this is that people are overall very much fatigued by the Kardashians. So maybe their perspective is that if they do take risks and it doesn't work, it's like over for them. I do think that's where they're at right now because people are generally like not feeling great about them to begin with. Like kind of celebrities overall, everyone is just kind of like sick of. But that's just kind of the state of the Kardashians right now. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode and I will see you next week. Bye. Mwah.